5:30. Please join our board team as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One of our board team, Dr. Lee, is virtual with us tonight, and then Mr. Gilead is on his way. He will be here shortly. So, our mission and vision in the Nelson County schools, we unite students and staff with people, place, and purpose to thrive in work and life. Our meeting agenda and goals for tonight are to learn more about BES priorities, evaluate major grant opportunities and updates, evaluate next steps for facility planning, and parents in the know feedback. So with that, we're going to welcome Principal Woods to the floor.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cheryl Woods. I am the principal here at Bloomfield Elementary School. I am excited to welcome you all. This is my first year, and so we started off the year on a great start. I just kind of want to share with you some of the things that we started this year.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. School is small here, so I don't normally need one. So at the beginning of the year and over the summer, I worked with Ann Cox, and I met with our teachers, our staff members, some families, and we really were trying to figure out what is important to us here at Bloomfield and what do we want to build together. So these three words, connection, purpose, and growth, are three things that came out of those conversations, and they've really anchored what we're trying to build together here at Bloomfield. One of the things that we've started this year that we're really excited about is something called family fly-in events. And those events are really meant to be a learning showcase to allow our students to showcase the things that they've been learning in the classroom, to do performance assessments, have families come in, view those things, and give feedback to students. So really the goal is just to bring people together and learn more about what we're doing here and what our kids are involved in and share that with their families.
Awesome. So, Ms. Woods comes to us from Foster Heights after being there. Can you talk a little bit about your journey as you think about, from your professional journey that kind of led you to Nelson County and then to Bloomfield Elementary School last year as a principal?
So I taught in Jefferson County for several years, went to school there, grew up there. I got really involved in some teacher leadership things a few years into my career, which brought me to Nelson County because I knew there were some good things happening there. I was at Foster Heights, was hired as the backpack leader in 2019, and was there for 6 years, and then transitioned. My husband and I moved to Bloomfield last year, actually. We live very close to the school, and when the position came open, I thought, might as well try. So that's what I ended up here. It's very special to be very close to home and to share that with our kiddos, knowing that we're from the same community, that we, live in the same area and we care about the same things. So it's great to be able to be here.
I think Ms. Woods undersold herself a little bit there. So I think the truth is you'd been thinking for a few years about the opportunities of leadership and we're very prepared to take on that role. I think it also spoke in your collaboration with Ann at the end of last year to bridge the conversation with staff and families, which it's been a pretty seamless transition. And I think this year the staff is thinking about the future. Bloomfield Elementary School is an example. We were just talking, it's over the next few years, probably half of the staff nearly will be close to retiring just over the next 3 to 4 years, which is just kind of how it works, which is a great advantage right now because you have all these veterans in the building, but as you look to the future, poses new challenges and opportunities. So that's a little detail there. Anything else we're thinking about as we?
Well, just saying we're grateful that you said yes to the opportunity. I think Ms. Cox laid a wonderful foundation here, and you're going to be able to build on that and take the school to the next level. And yes, I think it's nice to come into a building when there are senior staff, especially in a new role as leadership. I think that's helpful. But we are definitely excited to see what you have to bring to Bloomfield. And I want to know more about the chickens. So
There's chickens and ducks and turkeys and geese, maybe a donkey one day.
well, if you can herd chickens, then this is going to be a piece of cake.
So easy.
Ms. Woods, I appreciate your leadership, and I'm so glad to have you in our elementary school.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you so much. All right, we are moving on to our community partner celebration with Ms. Arnold and Mr. Martin.
Good evening. So we're excited tonight to be able to celebrate Flagey Hospital and Court. And before we get into depth around why we're actually celebrating these groups, we wanted to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about Flagey. So Flagey has been a partner for the past 6-7 years. They've helped support our Imagination Library program, donating to Imagination Library on a consistent basis. At the hospital, when we have newborns, every child leaves with a We Heart NC onesie and the process to enroll Imagination Library. I believe it was 3 years ago, Flagey welcomed our Health Science Collab to one of their units that has closed, and we have students that are going to Flagey Hospital every day, learning, interacting with their staff, and we're just so fortunate for that partnership with Flagey. And tonight, I think Mr. Martin's going to be coming up, but while he's coming up, I'm going to ask Graham Gandy to come forward. He's with Flagey Hospital. Many of you all know Jennifer Nolan, who is the CEO of the hospital, but Graham's with us tonight to talk a little bit about what we're celebrating tonight, the partnership with Court and Flagey, and where Flagey has donated, I believe, $30,000 to support athletic trainers. So, Graham.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. On behalf of Jennifer Nolan and our executive leadership at Flagey Memorial Hospital, we're very pleased to partner with Nelson County Board of Education in support of athletic trainers that are provided by Court Physical Therapy. Just really thrilled about the partnership for us to work together and ultimately be able to provide exceptional services for student athletes at the high schools. We never want bad things to happen to our student athletes, but when something does happen, it doesn't quite go the right way from an injury perspective. We're glad to be able to partner together and to be able to fill in that void whenever that action is needed to be taken. So very pleased to be part of this and partnered with Court and Nelson County Schools. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
So just a little bit of context. Thank you for sharing there. So at our two high school facilities, Nelson County High and Thomas Nelson, we do have two athletic trainers that we're going to recognize here this evening. But they're there on our campuses supporting our athletes. So the hours are kind of wonky. You think about after school hours. Sometimes there's late games involved, and there's a lot of activities on our high school campuses. So a lot of athletes, and these people spend a lot of time there. Court has been able to partner with us in this endeavor for a number of years, and Elliot's going to talk about that in just a second. But really, these are the people that make all that happen. And Flagey recently stepped in with a $30,000 contribution to continue to support that. But really, I think when you think about Nelson County Schools and uniting people, place, and purpose, this is a great example of people and places coming together to really serve our students and families, and particularly our athletes. So, Elliot, I'll let you talk a bit, and you can introduce the team.
Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Elliot Mattingly. I'm a physical therapist with Court in Bardstown, and been with Court for 13, going on 14 years. And it's fun because my entire career I've known this partnership. But really, I want to be thankful so we have Kevin Brown here tonight. Kevin oversees all of our athletic trainers throughout Court, and we're the largest sports medicine provider in the state. And we're really proud that kind of originated and started here. So we have Jaden and we have John, and they're new to us. So really, for me, I don't get to see them too often because they're out grinding on the fields. But that's usually a good thing. If I get calls and because that means a lot of your people are hurt, so they're keeping people healthy, which is really nice. But so thankful that they're on our team. But if we go back to where this started, we've been providing athletic trainers for the schools for a long time, but back in 1993, Roger Robinson started covering the sidelines here, and then Robbie Hinkebine started in 1996 and piggybacked to a state championship with you all. So I got on him today because that was his first year of coverage, and it just happened to be a state football championship. So he's got the little trophy in his office and all that. So he's still riding high on his county time there. So, but we're really excited to continue this partnership, but also the addition of Flagey as a part of our team. We have on our clinical team at Bardstown, we have 4 Nelson County grads. In our administrative team, we have multiple others. So we know the value of having local care and local faces to take care of you. And we wanted to partner with Flagey because they have great physicians in town. A lot of times people just they assume they have an injury, they need to travel, and they need to go somewhere different because Louisville's got the best, right? Or the big city's got the best. I don't think that's the case. I think here locally we have great physicians with Dr. Maida and Dr. Faridi and team there. And so if we can work together to help provide you early access to our care, because we know if we get you in sooner, you're going to get better sooner. And then we continue that care with our on-field presence and our relationship that we have with the schools. Like all of our athletes are going to be better off for it. So we're thankful for them because they helped us with all the schools in town. So because of this partnership, we get to continue to serve our community, which is we want to keep our athletes in our community, but we really want to keep them on the field too. So this is a really great way for us to do that.
And I think we can all speak to the quality of people that you guys have continued to contribute to us over the years, starting with Robbie 30 years ago. And we've continued to be very fortunate to have you guys as a local resource for sure. So.
Any questions?
No, just gratitude. Thank you guys for being great partners for our students and our facilities. I think more than anything, keeping our kids, like you said, healthy and on the field and in good playing condition is all we ask. So thank you for that.
They make it tough on us.
So we do have some swag here for you guys.
Hey, Alex, will you grab me that sign-in sheet? All right, moving on, our guest comment policy. Thank you for attending our board meeting. Any person wishing to address the board may do so by following these rules. Guest comments are limited to 3 minutes for individuals and groups. Please step forward, state your name and address, and if you represent a group, state the name of the group you are representing. First tonight, we have Sarah Thornton.
Just to be clear, those chairs are wobble chairs. Yeah, that's right.
My name is Sarah Thornton. Good evening. I'm speaking to you as a Bloomfield Middle School band parent. And with the imminent merger of our middle and high schools, it is imperative that we address the ongoing chaos in our band program. My two 8th graders began their journey in BMS band during 6th grade, but their experience has been marred by inconsistency. The band teacher was frequently absent, then on leave, and the substitutes were subpar. Last year, the decision to bus students to OKH for instruction, meeting Mr. Fletcher there, resulted in significant disruption and confusion. Right before second semester was to begin, we learned BMS band students would be bused to Thomas Nelson High School. This led my son to quit, overwhelmed by the stress of lengthy bus rides, increased behavior issues on the bus, and the threat of losing his second elective. My daughter persisted and thrived under Mr. Fletcher. She considered him a mentor, made friends, and decided to join Thomas Nelson's marching band for her 8th grade year. Yet just days before this school year began, we learned BMS students would attend band at their home high school, splitting the group that have been together the last 2 years and causing massive confusion and schedule changes for 4 different schools. Let me share one result of this last-minute decision, which had no parent or student input. BMS students are on a bus for 30 minutes, arriving at Thomas Nelson to interrupt that high school band class. They spend the next 30 minutes in a crowded class before receiving any instruction. BMS's instruction finally begins around 2:15 p.m., only for the first group of students to leave at 2:30 for another 30-minute bus ride back to BMS. That's 15 minutes of lessons. The biggest problem is the failure to group students by skill level. 8th graders, the advanced, missing out on the material required for high school band, not being challenged like they should be. 6th graders and beginners who have never touched an instrument or seen a piece of music. And then there are the 7th graders stuck in the middle, unable to advance or receive proper instruction at any level. Mixing vastly different experience levels does not support growth or success and is unfair and ineffective, both for students and the director. I've heard it described as teaching calculus and basic addition in the same class. That doesn't make sense. All the schools are always yelling about equity and equality. BMS has been at the losing end of both of these, especially the last couple of years. Even OKH has a beginner band. We can't fight for our school anymore, but we do expect better going forward. If we are serious about equity and equality, it's time to advocate for a band program that categorizes students by skill level, just as every other school does. Our students deserve a fair opportunity to succeed in their musical education. There's no better time than now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. Next up, we have Ms. Bird.
Hi, I'm Lindley Bird. I live at Redwood Drive in Bardstown, and I'm here as a parent of a student at Bloomfield Middle. I'm here also to ask you to consider separating the beginner band class from the advanced band class at our middle schools, particularly Bloomfield Middle School. As she had mentioned, OKH does already have their beginner band class. They stay at OKH while the other students go to NCHS or Thomas Nelson. Right now, for the Bloomfield kids, they go to Thomas Nelson. Both groups are in the same class, but their needs are very different. Beginners are just learning how to hold their instruments, read music, and simply play notes. Advanced students are already performing at a higher level and are ready for more complex music and ensemble work. Some, like my child, even already play the high school marching band. Putting them together in one class makes it very difficult for either group to get the attention and instruction they truly need and deserve. Mr. Fletcher, who does amazing work with these kids, had a great way of describing it as teaching basic math and calculus at the same time. For beginners, it can feel overwhelming and discouraging to keep up with students who are years ahead. For advanced students, it can feel frustrating and discouraging to move at a slower pace and also setting them behind when they should be. For the teacher, it becomes nearly impossible to teach effectively while trying to meet both levels at once. If we were able to separate these classes, all students would benefit. Beginners could build confidence and foundational skills at their own pace. Advanced students could be challenged and prepare for high school and band and beyond. The overall quality of our music program would grow, and so would student engagement and success in all subjects. Studies show that students who participate in music programs, especially instrumental music, tend to have higher GPAs, score better on standardized testings like the SAT, and show higher proficiency in subjects like math, science, and English compared to their non-musical peers. Currently, they are only getting half the class time they deserve, so that he can focus on the beginners for around 30 minutes and the advanced students for around 30 minutes. And these Bloomfield kids are already having their time cut short due to having been bused from school to school. They are also having to miss out on the second elective that other kids get. Our schools have a growing and talented music community, giving them the space to thrive at their own level, which show that we value the arts and are committed to helping all students involved.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have Deborah Brochevsky.
Good evening. I want to start out by saying I take no pleasure in standing up here criticizing or nitpicking what the board does. I appreciate that you guys serve the community and are trying to figure out what is best for our students and the community. My purpose isn't to attack anyone. It's just to help ensure that when things are done properly and transparently, moving forward, it will be much more efficient. After last month's public comments, there was whispering among the board members at the table. I want to remind you that whispering or holding side conversations during meetings is not appropriate and could potentially violate Open Meetings Act. I'm sure that's not intentional, but perception matters. We've had a lot of controversy in the past, and I think you all agree that we want to be as transparent and open in the future to avoid that. I found it troubling that suddenly there was a concern of guest speakers. Oh, I'm guilty. Deborah Bohachevsky, 658 Bloomfield, Kentucky. It's in the policy. We're all supposed to be giving our name, address, and if we're a group, what group, not just standing up here saying, I'm with a group. Look back at the film. You'll see that's happened a lot. But backtracking. So suddenly there was a concern of not giving addresses. If I recall correctly, that's never been enforced in the past, not even during the June public hearing on the facility plan public hearing. Of the 33 comments then, only 10 included a full address, 6 listed just a city, and 17, well over half, provided no address at all. And many of those were a form letter with only a signature, and oddly enough, one particular person in common. Yet those were all accepted with no issue. So why suddenly is this an issue when it hasn't been a concern in the past? That inconsistency gives the appearance of selective enforcement. According to board policy, the chair may require the name and address of the speaker. The word may means it's optional, not required. So not giving an address isn't an open meetings violation, and it isn't necessarily a policy violation either unless you choose to enforce it. But then again, it needs to be consistent. What may be a concern, however, is the small breakout discussions that sometimes happen during meetings when the board members divide into small groups or speak off microphone. The public, both here and watching online, which is the majority of the audience, can't hear or follow what's being said. That undermines transparency and could cross the line of open meetings violations. Almost done. I strongly encourage that all board conversations, including with legal counsel, because that's come up a lot where you ask Mr. Crawford questions, he's in the audience, we can't hear what he's saying. So I strongly recommend, like many boards do, have a seat at the table for the attorney with a microphone so that all conversations can be clearly listened by the public and we can understand the discussion. Thank you for your time and your service and your willingness to listen. And thank you, ladies, for bringing up the band. I was home, my hometown, last month, and they have almost 300 students in their middle school and high school band. It's a smaller district than here, so band is really important. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Holly Smith.
I'm Holly Smith, 115 Coventry Lane, Bardstown, Kentucky, 40004. All right, Good evening. My name's Holly Smith, and I'm here this evening to express my full support for the district's plan to begin transitioning students from our current middle schools to both high school campuses. As a parent, a coach, and an educator in this district, the time is now. The time is now to make long-term decisions that will shape our high schools and the future of every student in Nelson County schools. We need clear, sustainable paths from elementary to high school with feeder patterns that make sense for families. This is our chance to reimagine a connected, consistent learning journey that prepares students for college, careers, and life after. This transition reflects a forward-thinking approach to education, ensuring consistent connections and opportunities for every student in Nelson County. It expands access to resources, academics, career pathways, technical training, and a unified, supportive environment for students. Every student deserves a high-quality opportunity in academics, in arts, in athletics, in career education, in a school where they can learn, they can grow, and they can lead. This plan strengthens our community by fostering mentorship, collaboration, and shared school cultures. It unites students and staff across the grades, creating a sense of belonging from 6th to graduation. Whether the Nelson County School or the Thomas Nelson campus, this shift breaks barriers and builds a united community that we so much long for. The time is now. Selfishly, but very proudly, I want this for my baseball program. I want to build on the foundation that has already been laid for a little over a decade now. As a parent, I want this for my children. I want them to have something consistent as they move towards their future story. My oldest is actually in an advanced pathway. He's a student here at Bloomfield. And he spends nearly an hour of his day on a bus transporting back and forth to multiple schools just to have access to opportunities that I think he deserves. The time is now to create those connections and efficient systems for these students. And actually, my child denied an opportunity because he wanted to be in Bloomfield for half of his day. Change is never easy. It requires courage. So we ask that we move forward with transitioning some of these students. Let's get the ball rolling for these kids. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, last up, we have Ellen Mattingly. Elliot, maybe it's Elliot. Sorry. Oh, okay.
He went to Bardstown. He did. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Moving on. We are on our consent agenda. Again, the board received this information prior to the board meeting this evening. Were there any areas of questions for any of the board members? Any areas of discussion? If not, we will need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, guys. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, now we have Dr. Shearhorn with grant acceptance and agreements.
Good evening. So excited to announce that we were awarded the 2025 COPS SVPP grant, which is a safety-based grant. It is a federal grant, a little over $400,000 from federal dollars, and then we have a little bit of a match component. But that will be used to increase the SALTO access in the schools that don't have that yet. So that will get us all exterior doors. Am I correct in that? Yep. So we're going to get on a unified system, which will make increase safety and make it easier on technology department. And
Can you explain a little bit of what that is, the program that you're referring to? Is it digital entry? Or
yes.
campus entry?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, the SATO badges where you have to have a badge to be able to access certain doors, and they can turn on and off access as needed.
Yeah, this is similar to the previous grant we received. It also does cover some of the director of environmental safety, which was a huge value add for our community. It also supports with Mr. McCoy, Mr. Medley. We have 2 police officers, one on each of our campuses, our major high school campuses, which is also a major value add. So these are all levers in allowing that to be more sustainable. So,
Dr. Shearhorn, I believe this is your first federal grant award, and I'd like to congratulate you because that is a significant accomplishment because these are highly, highly competitive grants.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, any discussion? All right, with that, we will need a motion to approve the grant acceptance as presented.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, thank you, guys. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much. And then another grant announcement that I would like to bring up. We didn't have to ask for acceptance of this one because you all have already approved acceptance of this grant and money, but we were awarded $560,000 of additional money for our school-based mental health program through the Department of Education in the last month because they recognize the great work that Stacy Holderman and her team are doing in the district. And they were also recently highlighted by the Matrix TA agency for the work that they're doing. And so that resulted in them saying, hey, here's some more funding, because we honor the work you are doing.
That's fantastic.
yes, huge.
Fantastic.
Congratulations. So we do have another related conversation coming from Ms. Holderman and the Thrive team.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to share with you all tonight that the Department for Juvenile Justice is interested in partnering with us through our Thrive Academy program, which is a fully comprehensive day treatment program. So I've had my eyes on this partner for a couple years and lots of phone calls. I'm wondering if they just decided to finally partner because I've called them so much, but they are really interested in partnering. I came from Boyle County Schools to Nelson County Schools, and so I was accustomed to working with DJJ and partnering. So I knew that would be a good move for us if we had a fully functioning day treatment program, which we really do, and it's so exciting to see how those services are really meeting needs for kids. This partnership it's hard to get. So there are about 25 schools across the state who have a DJJ partnership. So it comes with funding. If you look at the funding, it's around $73,000 per year that we would reoccur. And so we would just have to make sure that we are meeting their expectations. The good news there is that when we set up Thrive Academy, really, I worked to lay the foundation for that program with DJJ in mind. So we are already meeting the requirements that's necessary, so that's really great news. We're also going to be eligible for around $25,000 more of Title I money because we have a day treatment program that's recognized through DJJ. And then in addition to that, KECSAC funding also comes along. We would not be eligible this year for KECSAC funding for state agency children, but in the 26-27 school year we would be. So this sets us up really nicely for not only credibility throughout the state, people are going to recognize our day treatment program as being a high quality program with this partnership, but it also helps us with some sustainability of services and supports. So if you all have any questions, the agreement's lengthy. I've gone through it just line by line, and if you have questions, I can try to answer those.
I do have a lot of questions. Probably not the time to do it, though. I'm just wondering.
Sure, you can reach out to me if you're interested in just talking about Thrive Academy some more and what that day treatment program is, and really how DJJ blends with day treatment programs across the state. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions.
It's a big concern of mine.
What's a big concern?
Thank you.
What's a big concern?
Just concerned how we're going to treat our children with special needs in this whole. And it's really a big subject we shouldn't get into tonight.
Sure.
And I think me and you ought to have a good
I think,
conversation.
Mr. Norman, I think you're saying that you're really interested, you're strongly invested in that. Is
Yes,
that
I
what
am
you're saying?
very.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
a huge concern of mine. I
Yes.
know. Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. So
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Always been available to me. Thank you.
I think anything that we can do to meet students, all students across the district, is going to be a huge impact for our community. I appreciate the dedication and the hard work that you continue to invest in our students, because it's not easy, and especially this work, it's challenging and it's emotional, but every student deserves the opportunity to learn in a safe environment and an environment that supports them not just academically but emotionally and mentally. So thank you for that work.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So any discussion? With that being said, we need a motion to approve the agreement as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holderman. All right. All right, and we have Ms. Flanagan here. She's going to talk a little bit about the nursing update.
Good evening. My name is Felicia Flanagan. I am the director of our Thrive Care Clinic program. I'm so delighted to be with you all this evening. I just want to take a couple of minutes and just share with you some of the wonderful things that our Thrive Care Clinics are doing. And so the very first thing is we offer free, not only registered nursing services, but we also offer free nurse practitioner services to our students. You can imagine that our families really love this service. We have so many barriers to healthcare with our students, whether it be transportation or financial, whether it be maybe a parent can't miss work to come and pick up their student. And so we've worked really hard to try to eliminate those barriers and offering the services that we do. Just last year, for instance, we had it was 30,800 student visits in our care clinics. And so that's a large amount of students who are utilizing our services, and we are so thankful for that. But I think one of the most important things about those 30,800 students is that 94% of the students that we saw come through our care clinics, they went back to class. And so what a blessing that is, just for us to be able to support their educational role as well and getting them back in the classroom as swiftly as possible. So it's also allowed us really to kind of pioneer a new way to look at school health, both in our region and in our state. There are lots of districts that reach out to us. They want to know, how are we doing what we're doing? And I always start by saying, well, we have a wonderful and supportive Board of Education who allow us to do what we're doing. And so I just want to say thank you so much for just your support and allowing us to do that. And so I also wanted tonight just to recognize and discuss there some concerns that were brought up at the last board meeting regarding immunizations and our role of our care clinics in immunizing students. And so first of all, I just want to let you know that we monitor immunization compliance not by a Nelson County Schools rule, but by a state law. And so we recognize and we value that immunizing a student is absolutely 100% the choice of the parent. And so we absolutely recognize that. However, in accordance with state law, there are documents that we have to have on file for every student. And so a parent can absolutely choose to immunize or not, to decline that immunization for their student. However, we have to have one of the following on file. We either need to have that immunization certificate or we need to have that declination form that is signed and notarized. So we just have to have one of those two things and to stay in accordance with state law. But I do want to just say again, our care clinics, we do not administer vaccines. We do not offer vaccines in our care clinics. That is not a service that we provide to our students. And so several weeks ago, we did offer an optional flu clinic for our staff and our students. Physicians of Children came in and they provided this on-campus optional flu shots to save our families from maybe having to pick up their student and take them, or whatever the case may be. But we offered that as a service for our students and for our staff. We did have about 4.7%, yes, a small number of students that did participate, and it was about 24% of our staff participated in that on-campus optional opportunity for our families. Parental consent was, of course, required. The parent had to fill out a consent form for their student to be to receive the flu shot on campus. So I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any confusion on that. Again, we are so blessed to offer these services, and just again, thank you so much for your support, and that's about all I have.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you addressed that, because one of the kind of difficult things about guest comments is you want to deal with it right in the moment so that it doesn't kind of become something. So I think that's great that you were able to clarify. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
All right, next we have the calendar committee for 26-27. It is already time to start talking about that.
Yes, so this is an annual process where really we're engaging with diverse stakeholders across the community, really that they hold a variety of roles and representation. And the goal really is to bring voices to the table to draft a school calendar for the 26-27 school year. We'll have lots of discussions. They'll take those discussions back to their own local schools and families, gather some more feedback, and really craft that calendar for you guys to potentially approve and adopt. And the timeline would be, the goal would to have that calendar approved at the December board meeting. And then that way, kind of 1st of January, we advertise that to families. And so they're aware of when breaks are and when school begins, and they can begin planning around it. So really the action today is to approve the calendar committee and who represents that group. We do have 2 meeting dates that are on the calendar to meet, and we also have a board member that will be part of that process as well. So current dates, I'm targeting November 4th and December 9th for gatherings at central office.
So we need either a volunteer, or I'm happy to just throw some names out there, however you guys want to handle it. If somebody already wants to do it, or if we're going to volunteer or ask someone to do it. I've been on this committee before. It's very, I would say, uneventful. It's some discussion. I mean, I tried to get a 4-day work week, I promise. I did try really hard on that, so they probably do not want me back on that seat. But I think it's important to kind of take part in this discussion, especially if you have kids in the school system, because you sort of get to look at it from a different perspective, not just as a board member, but as a parent. But I don't know if anyone is interested, would like to volunteer, or I'm looking at you, Jody. No, I'm just kidding.
I feel it.
Just kidding. But are you okay?
I mean, I'm willing to do it too. It doesn't matter
Okay.
either way.
So
Whoever.
I'm good
It
with
doesn't matter
whoever
at all.
wants to take the time. So you've probably not done that.
I've not done it. I'll do it.
Let's
That's
give
fine.
it to Miss Deaton.
Awesome.
No problem.
So
I haven't done
I appreciate that.
it. No problem.
We'll have an update at the November board meeting really on the progress of that conversation. Over the last few years, what we found is kind of a consistent calendar. What we have kind of feels right per se in terms of start date, end date, and then also kind of when those breaks fall. So consistency is really big for our families. How we're using staff work days. There are some work days there where students are not present. So when do those occur? Typically, it's kind of the conversation topics, but lots of consistency as of recently, and we're going to continue to leverage that. So,
Was this the first year we shifted the fall break just a little bit?
So last year we had the break shifted this past year, last school year, and it got out of sync per se.
Okay.
This year we're kind of back in line with our traditional setting, and typically we've targeted the first full week of October was fall break, which just occurred, and then the first full week of April would be the spring break, and that consistency seemed to be valuable to teams.
All right, fantastic. Thank you again.
No problem.
All right, so we will need to approve the calendar committee as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. I need a second. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, also with Mr. Martin, is facility plans next steps.
So next up, facility updates. There's no formal action for the board tonight. This is just an update on our projects at play and current action and some next steps. So 5 projects that we've discussed a lot recently. Unless I don't have a clicker, so I don't know. You can
touch the screen over there too.
Okay.
You can swipe.
So the top two projects are really in a similar state in terms of the Up Center and bus garage. Obviously, those are currently under construction. Lots of activity on those 2 sites. If you've been there recently, we actually had a construction meeting today with our monthly meeting with subs, and really the current action on both projects is to enclose the space so that they can really begin lots of work on the interior. On the Up Center, for example, they have had a lot of work on the interior, but really when you think about some of the finishes inside, they can get to that much quicker once the exterior is closed in. That's also going to help protect them from weather as we get into the winter season, and they'll be able to obviously continue working on the inside. The bus garage is in a similar space, just trying to enclose the exterior. Timeline on these projects are looking like 2026 with the bus garage, hopefully early spring, and then we're targeting summer for Up Center completion. I'm going to come back to this. Let's see. I have a few images. I guess I click this button.
You swipe it.
Okay.
You just got to do this.
Got it. So these are just a few images that I took today. You see the outside of the Up Center. This is the front entrance here.
Wrong way. You got to be a little more aggressive with it.
Just press the button. This is the right side. This is the health sciences wing. From the outside, you can see where the masons have done quite a bit of work with the brick. There's also quite a bit of work on the inside as well from a masonry standpoint.
Let's just make sure that this.
I'm just glad it didn't work.
Oh, no, me too. I wish for you too.
So this is just a shot from the inside. So at the front of the facility, kind of where that roof has the upward momentum there. This is the inside, looking inside the conference spaces that will be there. And then, honestly, if you go into the space, even if you're familiar with the old ATC building, you can really get disoriented there and kind of walk around and not really know where the space is and what it's going to be unless you're really looking at a plan, because it's changed so much. You can see this is the original hallway here, and obviously they've demolished these walls and these spaces. And this is kind of looking into where the welding lab was, and then also kind of IT set back in that direction. And that flex space is now opened up, and they have concrete poured there. But a lot of work going on in that space. And then this is the transportation facility, so sitting directly behind Horizons Academy. The steel structure has been put up. This went up pretty quickly, and now they've spent a lot of time working recently on the roof, and then they've started some masonry work on the outside, again trying to shore up that exterior. So I guess we can jump back to the first slide, thanks. So when we look at the next three projects. The Thomas Nelson one recently, we accepted construction bids, and now mobilization of that construction process is about to begin. The target timeline is to begin that in November. And again, it just based upon experience from these other two jobs, it kind of takes them a bit to get started. There's a mobilization process. Really anticipate the home that's there, demolishing that, and we're also planning groundbreaking ceremonies for that process as well. The current project completion, really, we're targeting summer of 27. I guess I'll go on and go over these, and we'll look at the other images. The Nelson County High and New Haven, those projects are, again, in a similar space, I would say. Recently at our board meeting, we approved the new BG1s that helped us establish a budget for those projects. And currently, the action is really the design phase of those projects. And looking at Nelson County High Phase 1, Mr. Bradley is collaborating with Nelson County High admin and architects, really exploring, what do we want that space to look like. We're anticipating construction ending in summer of 28. And then for New Haven, most recently, we actually met last week, a huge collaboration of architects, New Haven admin, facility leads were there, I was there, and just making sure that we have the right scope for that facility, making sure we're targeting and prioritizing the right things so that the space is effective and efficient, and making sure that it's fully functional for the students and staff there. So, again, these are just a few images to reference the Thomas Nelson Middle School addition that will be taking place here, and it stretches out towards 245. But there will be lots of activity over the course of the next several months. That space will look a lot different than it does today. So Mr. Bradley can help support this conversation some, but essentially just trying to explore as we think about Phase 1 and the new addition that will occur on Nelson County High School campus. What should that look like and feel like? This is just a basic sketch of what's possible as you look at Phase 1.
Yeah, I think the key of the Nelson County High School replacement is it's a two-story building by design. It'll be stretching close towards the up center, and it'll have that whole back side. So in front of the up center, currently where the softball field is, will become a parking and courtyard over time. And the architects have really just determined where the building could sit and most appropriately where certain classrooms would go. So over the next 4 to 6 weeks, engaging in conversations locally to begin to put stuff in front of the administrative team and others to get feedback on the placement and design of classrooms. And that's really the early stages of that design process.
And then for New Haven, this is just, I'd say this is a bit more advanced sketch just based upon the architect's work with that, just trying to show, again, what's possible and making sure we've identified the right priorities. So just some high-level things that were discussed last week. So currently, traffic is able to move between the building and the gym. We're looking to eliminate that traffic flow and turn this into really pedestrian traffic only, and making sure that we have a canopy that supports kind of the front entrance here and allows for mobility over to the gym space. They're also looking at really moving the front entrance here so that it's in alignment with this hallway, kind of reworking this front entrance along with offices here that are a bit disjointed, making them a bit more functional. Also reverting traffic around the back and having a drop-off loop that's functional for buses and parents. And then also working to address the underground pipe that's caused some foundational issues here. Those are most of the hot topic things from a major standpoint that were talked about last week. But again, the architect's job is now to take that feedback from last week and continue to make sure we have the right scope so that it meets our needs and fits within the budget. Any questions? Again, you can find all of this information at Nelson County NCSLPC.com.
All right, moving on. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Parents in the Know events were held this past, was that last week? Last week, Tuesday and Thursday last week, following fall break. Great turnout at both Nelson County High School and Thomas Nelson. Good conversation. Superintendent Bradley's going to give us some feedback on those discussions.
Yeah, there were some very high level conversations that occurred at Nelson County High School as we thought about the future of 612 connectedness and how to engage families. And one of the things that came up right away that was a little bit of a surprise, but it makes sense now, is the parents started talking about elementary programming. There was no longer a middle school kind of that was a barrier for the jump, and there were parents that were discussing, well, why aren't we aligning elementary programming? And they were thinking about that in the arts and other forms and fashions as we were talking about tonight, in understanding the opportunity that exists to build a bridge to some of those programs. That was one of the things that came up right away. There were definitely a group, probably 8 to 10 people in the mix that talked a lot about accelerated access as a byproduct of what is perceived and experienced inequities in the middle school experience today, as well as the opportunity just for 50 to 60% of our current 8th graders that are already taking classes in the high school. For 8th graders, so the conversation, to be more explicit, was that our opportunity to transition 8th graders sooner to the high schools. That was a conversation that was probably at least a third of the conversation as a whole. There were also conversations around scheduling in general, transportation, and just thinking critically about spaces. Finally, and this is, I think, connected to some of this 8th grade conversation as well, and it was coming out of kind of multiple angles, was just the need for clarity for parents around where they live, how that impacts where they attend schools, et cetera. And I think there's just, because of the magisterial lines organizing our middle schools and elementary schools over the past however many years, 50 years, 35, 40, 50 years, that was something that came up, and parents, I think, were asserting clarity. They want the board to be clear on those measures. Those were 4 conversations that I think really captured the essence. I think in general, people were very excited. They're kind of, people also, it's like we don't want to hurry up and wait because we know these facilities also take time to build. So I think there was a lot of excitement, and those are some general themes. This Thursday, so 2 days from now, we will be meeting with site-based parents across the county in three separate meetings to define priorities for parents across the county for the transition. So we'll have about 15 to 20 parents helping to establish clear priorities for high school, middle school principals to unite further around. That starts this Thursday with a little more targeted approach through site-based families.
So I attended both of those meetings, and I would absolutely say, for the most part, it was nice to see faces that I had not seen before. For the last few years, we've had the same groups of people sort of coming and engaging in these conversations, and it was nice to see people that either had been paying attention and just not been present, or now that decisions have been made, that they're like, okay, now what do I need to know and what do I need to do? So it was really exciting to hear from those parents, because they're thinking about what's next. What do we expect? How do we make sure that programming across the district is supported in both of the connected campuses? And, how do we continue to build? I think, Mr. Fletcher, you had 2 parents that spoke very highly of why inequities matter. How when there are shortfalls somewhere, families are going to feel that, and they are very aware of it. So it was nice to hear from a couple of the Bloomfield parents at those meetings to say, can you make sure that no matter what, these programs are really connected at both campuses, that we're not creating more obstacles for students. And I think we're committed to that. I definitely believe we're committed to that. But I think some of the things that they ask and the questions they ask, the board has not entered into conversations around shifting students. And I think they brought up enough of these questions that we need to ask bigger questions about what that looks like. What?
I think also, I don't want to be unclear. The inequities were not solely about Bloomfield students. There were also inequities, I think, brought up from students and families that felt as if the transition to OKH was not in their best interest. In particular, I think there's a perception of certain families coming out of the west side of Nelson County or the south side of Nelson County that the placement of students at OKH was not in alignment with their long-term program building. And that was a conversation that was a 2-year-old conversation, and it also did come up. I think the difference now is there's also a conversation around equity, not just there, but also coming from some families in Bloomfield, because there's natural tension that exists because we are trying to provide opportunities for all students.
I think obviously we understand that programs shift as student needs and student wants shift, and that wasn't necessarily conversations people were having. They want to make sure that if it's offered here, it needs to be offered there. And that's a lot of the inequities that some people were bringing to the table. Please just make sure that because yes, OKH, shifting students there created a lot of great things for kids from New Haven and Boston that had never had those opportunities. But let's be honest, it also created shortfalls for others. And I think that's what we have to recognize as we move forward. I think that's what parents wanted us to recognize is just because you think you're doing good for one group of kids doesn't mean you're doing good for all kids. And that's where I think as a board, we do have to look at the data. Because we don't want to continue to create obstacles. We want to make sure that whatever we're doing, it is healthy across the board. And it's going to take more than us talking 5 minutes or 10 minutes in a board meeting. It's going to take people that are in the buildings looking at what that data looks like. It's unfortunately going to fall a lot on people like Ms. Arnold to tell us what that looks like and what those programmings look like. But I think it's worth the deep dive, because what I also don't want to do is get to January or February and have to make a decision. I want to start looking at that stuff now just to understand it, so we can talk about it. Doesn't mean anything's going to happen. It just means we know we have to be responsible here and look at the information. And I think the advisory committee that the superintendent is talking about with site-based parents is going to be helpful, because parents are going to have other parents to go to say, hey, listen, make sure you ask about this, because we don't see everything. We can miss things too in this conversation, and we want to make sure that we're not doing that. Is there anything else that y'all wanted to add?
So is there any specific, you referenced that you wanted some data?
So I want to look at information, because again, the big question that came up by multiple parents was, can we do an early transition of 8th graders from OKH in Bloomfield to go ahead and get them into the high schools? I don't know if that's possible because it's a small group of students. So I want to see what that data looks like. Does it create shortfalls at OKH? Do we take students out of there and create a problem with kids that are left behind in that space for a year? And do we gain anything from that? Because I don't want this just to be about protecting athletics. I want this to be about protecting programs and building on programs and laying foundations. I think the other thing we need to look at is the transportation. What does that change? How does that look if we transition those kids? What happens to the programs that you've already started at OKH? Do we leave those? Are there shortfalls there? So again, there's bigger questions around that, again, I know you guys can't answer tonight. I'm not even sure if you'll be able to answer them in a few weeks. And again, your advisory committee is also probably going to have some of those same questions.
I agree with what Tracy is saying, and I think that it's imperative that we examine these things. And we've heard from parents tonight who talked about lost instructional time, and we certainly want to look at those implications. And of course, as this possibly a remedy. There's gives and takes. There will be pluses and minuses on either side. And when we think about access and opportunity being primary, but we also do have to think about the feasibility of it, so that sometimes when you increase one opportunity in this situation, you may decrease another. I know that OKH is somewhat crowded, and I would be curious to know if we are transitioning 8th graders out of that space, what does it do to bring in 6th and 7th graders from another area? So is there sufficient space to adequately put them into other programs in a manner that allows for them to be kept together as a group also?
Makes sense.
So, with that, that's sort of, again, just what I got out of those meetings is I definitely think parents are excited about what's to come, but I think there's still a lot of unknowns. So I think we just have to continue to have bigger discussions and see what we can do in the next.
You know, if we're kind of diving into that and feasibility, I mean, I think they made great points today about the band. I know that's just one of many things people could stand up here and talk about. So can we look at, like, is there, you know, while we're transitioning to this new thing, can we make that better? Because it, you know, I don't know.
Well, the parents brought up some great points, and I don't know if either of those parents are on SBDM, but they would be great to sort of give some feedback to their SBDM members, because those are great points. We have students that are losing access when they're on the bus. We're giving them something that they don't experience in their own building, but if we're not doing that 100%.
Or, like, could someone come, I don't know, could someone come here and work with, I don't know, is there a way we could do that without, I know when you start moving schedules that you
right.
I get it, that's a lot, but. So.
I think just knowing the math of it as well, if you're a 5th grader in Nelson County today, your 6th grade year, depending on, you know, where you go, it's going to be potentially a temporary placement, and that's just the math of it. In the sense that, you know, as Thomas Nelson would transition to be open, at bare minimum, summer of 27, the 6th grade that chooses to go to OKH or Bloomfield could potentially have a transition shortly thereafter. I share that just as a reference point. No family or student that's currently in 4th, 5th, 6th grade will not experience some form of transition. And I think that's another vehicle. You know, we didn't speak to every 4th, 5th, 6th grade parent, of course, in our conversations. We're looking at other vehicles to think about how to make sure parents are in the know on these opportunities, and a lot of that's going to have to run through local school channels. So that's another layer to this that we're thinking through.
I think that goes back to just a big ask to our community and our parents that are paying attention. Talk to the other families in your schools. Let them know what's going on. Have them reach out and ask questions, because we are reaching a small audience. And you know, just try to connect with as many people as you can. Ask them to reach out, because we need that feedback as much as anyone in this conversation. So that's all I got on that. All right, so board calendar and celebrations, just real quick. I know that Dr. Lee is not available for the November 18th, so we discussed shifting that to November 11th. I reached out to the board. I didn't have any feedback. I'm assuming everyone was good with that shift.
That's fine. It's Veterans Day, and I didn't check the school calendar.
Yeah.
Are they in school that day? Okay,
So as long as everyone's good.
That works.
All right, I will need a motion to approve the updated or amended calendar for the November 11th at Boston and December 16th at New Haven.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. So real quick, just not so much celebration, but a really shout out. There are events going on across the district. Check with your schools. This week alone, the new UP games and up events are going on. Everyone probably should have gotten an email or seen it. Tomorrow at Wickland, starting at 5:30, we have students that will be performing, and there are, I think there's a chili cook-off, there's free books and story time, live music performances, a lighting ceremony, because I think there's some pumpkin carving things going on. So come out and join that event. And then on Saturday, beginning at 8, we have, it says 8:30, so 8:30. At Nelson County High School at the track, there will be a walk-run. I'm assuming there's going to be some walking in that. And this is for all age groups. And we also have a costume contest going on and a free hot air balloon rides that I did not know you all were doing. And then I think every elementary school is hosting a trick-or-treat event. I think all but Cox's Creek on the 30th, starting at 5:30. And I know those are typically opened up to the public. I think Cox's Creek is doing theirs during the day, just for scheduling reasons. But get out and enjoy these events. Nelson County High School is having one. I believe theirs is on a Sunday, 26th. Does anyone know what that date is? They're doing a trick-or-treat event on their track, I think. So again, there are plenty of events to get your students out in. And there's also one on the 28th at Thomas Nelson, and they are going to be playing baseball in costume. So again, a great event to go to and take your students to. And again, these are events that are our way of giving back. So take advantage of them and get out, enjoy, build community, and have fun. Same time. It's the best time of year, too, and the weather's perfect. And anyone else have any celebrations?
I'd like to celebrate student athletes and the parents, because we are having volleyball district right now. So Nelson County's playing Washington County at Thomas Nelson. Have not got an update, but hopefully Nelson County's doing well. But so I know it's a tough end sometime for the seniors, and always got to appreciate their hard work for all the time they spent with those teams.
Yes, definitely, and stay safe. Play safe. So, all right, with that being said, we need to convene and go into executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810, 1C for discussion on student discipline. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you, guys.
Joe, you want to talk Karen?
Yeah, got her. I don't know if I can get her or not.
Coming.
We will need to have a motion to reconvene the regular session of the Nelson County Board of Education.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. With that,
We just got to know Ms. Lee's currently absent.
oh, and Dr. Lee is not going to rejoin us in the reconvening, so she has left the meeting. With that, we are needing a motion to uphold the discussed expulsion recommendations made by the expulsion committee. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. With that, we now need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, guys.